Hello and welcome back to the EFS podcast, Crossroads Between Logistics and Life. And we got a special guest today. One that some people might have seen in the emails a little bit. That's about kind of the only interaction he's had so far. He's been interning with us. He wants to come back a little bit later when he's done with school. He's a good friend of mine. His name's Chase Weber. Chase, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just figuring it all out here.
That's good, man. That's good. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up, Cole?
That's good.
Everybody's been seeing more of you too.
Yeah, I've been around the block a little bit, visiting places.
That's why they haven't been seeing a lot of us.
Yeah, I've been trying to get in front of them and all that good stuff. So, and it's nice. I like getting to meet everybody. And we got some more coming up too. Some new customers we've had and some old ones we've had. We got some more meetings. I'm looking forward to it. It's really fun, really fun. So I'll hop right into it. Chase, today what we're doing, as you know, is like an interview in a sense. Not in the form of like a job interview, but just getting to know you. Because, you've been around for the last, 2-3 weeks now?
That's I think this is I'm going into my third week.
Yeah, and then...
But how did we meet? How did I know you?
Well, I was originally on your baseball team.
How long ago was that? Let's tell everybody how long ago. Many years ago.
Years ago? It was a while ago.
Back when we were good, right?
Yeah.
And a fun fact is Zach actually came to Elite through Chase's mom, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's right. My mom worked with Zach's mom.
Yep.
So that's how they got all connected.
Yep. So
pretty wild. Crazy how small little things like that lead to, big things. I mean, Zach's doing big things over here now. You're doing big things for the 3 weeks that you've been here. I mean,
trying to.
Yeah, it's not small coincidences at all, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of things that happen for a reason, and this would be one of them.
And to Chase's credit, he chased me down to get in here. He finally gave me the offer I couldn't refuse. Free at no charge.
As soon as I said, I don't need to be paid, I was like, okay, now we can work something out. That's when I was asking for that $15 an hour. I was like, I don't know if we can work that in.
We had never done anything like that before as far as bringing somebody in. So at the time, we had 3 different people that had just started, and then we also had the possibility of bringing you in. So it was a little bit of a challenge, and then once you kind of circled back as well, so it helped out great to have a chance to bring you in based upon what you're learning. Did you go where to school? Where do you go to school at?
I go to UT, up there in Knoxville.
Looks like the shirts we made were made for UT.
Look, this is how the universe will line up when you're doing things the right way.
I know you were debating on putting the orange shirt on the mannequin.
The shirt was supposed to be Clemson orange, and then I messed up, and it actually turned into that ugly Tennessee orange.
You messed it up. You had to give it the go-ahead. How did you mess it up?
I didn't look at the color scheme close enough.
I
missed
it looks good, send it kind of thing.
Yes, it looks so good.
You got that
Speaking of which, there was our shirts. But it looked so good, I was like, yes. And then when I got in, I was like, no, it's Tennessee orange. Rocky Top orange.
So what do you're going to UT. What are you going to school for?
Well, I'm currently I'm a business analytics major with a collateral in supply chain. Originally, I was marketing, and I hated it. And then took a class, I needed a filler class, and it ended up being like an intro to supply chain class, and just fell in love with it.
Gotcha. What with the business analytics, what? It's gonna sound really stupid. What is that? Is that like? Are you looking at like I'll use baseball for example? Are you looking at trades?
Just checking out batting averages the whole time he's in
class. Are you weighing the pros and cons, or is it just looking at like physical numbers?
You checking ERAs? Is that what you're doing?
Sort of. Actually, one of the things that I've been looking at just during my spare time, whenever I have free time during my analytics, I'm actually doing a book called Learning to Code with Baseball. So I'm looking at all that kind of stuff. But no, mostly.
Nice.
What I'm doing
Cody's Airlines
is mostly what I'm doing with that, at least in the classes that I've taken, it's more or less I'm given a whole sheet of just, fortunately where I'm at, I'm looking at clean data instead of data that's all messed up and stuff.
No live data, huh?
No, it's all just
quick. Now that you said that, quick question and we'll talk about some more of your experiences, but you said clean data. What is clean data versus what data you see here?
I would say for the most part, the data
similar?
that we have here is cleaned because you're putting it into the system already cleaned. I guess an example of it being uncleaned is what we saw earlier today with when I asked us so why is Moses listed as Sermaine and Moses? That would be an example
where it kind of
It's
doubles
like,
up.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Okay.
so it's like I see that. It's like I know
Look, I
it's
learned
most
something. I learned
Yeah.
something today. Difference between clean data and what's the other what would it be called?
cluttered, unclean data. It's
Unclean
pretty cut
data.
and dry. It's either one or the other.
Look at that common sense.
So like I guess another example would be like if you had like batting average numbers and like slugging numbers, and you didn't know the difference between the two. Like it wasn't said. You just had the numbers, and you had to kind of
Yeah,
figure out
it
as you
wasn't
went.
like properly labeled. That would be another
Gotcha.
example of it being like cluttered or unclean data.
Gotcha. And do you have an idea? You might not. I'm not sure how that kind of ties in with the supply chain stuff. Like kind of similar to our dispatch board. I guess
Yeah.
that'd probably be a pretty.
That's a pretty good example of how it would relate to supply chain. A lot of what my professors have said, at least at UT, is like when certain companies are looking for supply chain like managers and stuff like that, they're looking at someone who like can get immersed into the supply chain but understands the analytics side of it.
Gotcha.
And when a lot of companies are looking for analytics guys that have a heavy involvement in the supply chain, they're looking for someone who's able to get involved with the analytics but is able to translate that to a supply chain guy. So like they kind of go hand in hand.
Interesting. Okay.
Real quick question before we go farther into that. So back on how you met me. You said play baseball, right?
Yes.
And heard I was your coach.
Yeah.
And then I met Zach here at Elite through your mother, who knew Zach's mom.
You want to tell them how we met?
How
You and I met.
No, we'll leave that alone. So my point is I want to get to is, do you think relationships matter?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be here if I didn't play baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
And not that gives you a leg up on somebody just because you know me.
No.
But if there's two people standing in a room, you don't know one of them, you know the other one. Human nature is you're going to lean into the one you know because
The one you're
there's
more
some
comfortable with.
known variables
Right.
to start with. Okay.
Yeah, you know what you're getting. You know what you're not getting.
Right.
You know how to handle whatever the two things are, or you know what are multiple things you get. But I mean that's interesting. I didn't know that about you with the business analytics. I didn't know that was your major, but the supply chain is the. What you said, collateral? Is that what you said?
It's a collateral. You can do like a collateral. or
Collateral damage.
A collateral or a concentration.
It's a backup plan.
A
Change it
like
to
a
your main plan.
concentration.
Yeah, a concentration.
Okay.
A concentration basically just requires more hours.
They're Tennessee
Gotcha.
words.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't get that at Georgia Gwinnett. So, interesting. I didn't know that. So that's kind of cool. What made you go there? I guess you said you started with marketing. You didn't like it. You just kind of found something that.
I needed a filler class,
True.
and I just tossed in Intro to Supply Chain and just fell in love with it and talked with that was actually one of the more weird classes because I'd never had a class where I had 3 professors.
That is weird.
Yeah, I had 3
Was it a big class or was it just?
it was about 50, 60 people, maybe.
I mean, that's big, but not that big.
Yeah, no. But like they were like it was basically like whoever was specialized in what topic they were teaching, they would be the professor for like the week or 2 week span, and it just they kind of rotated out.
Interesting.
And then like
Okay.
all 3 of them were there when we had to do like our case studies in class.
What were the? I don't know if you know this, but what were like the credentials of the professors? Were they like in like third party logistics, or I mean, they may not have said. I don't know.
Most of them were like one of them, Lance, awesome professor by the way, but he worked at Procter and Gamble for a good bit, working in their supply chain. I can't exactly remember what Ted did, and I can't remember what Sarah did, but they both worked in like those kind of areas, more like with a private company instead of doing like more like third party stuff. That wasn't exactly their realm of expertise.
More or less
Gotcha.
shipper direct at the distributor itself.
Yeah,
Cool.
more like
Gotcha.
that. Like
Yeah, because I found that interesting because I can't imagine they're just picking professors out of a pool that have experience in this industry. I can't imagine there's a lot of people that are willing to teach it.
right.
I mean, it's hard enough to find.
That's why we're
content.
here to educate.
Exactly. I mean, like, it's hard enough to find content that's good. I mean, you can find news articles about what's going on, but in terms of the physical learning and the physical, like, understanding of things that happen here, whether it be, going from point A to point B with the truck, the things that happens with the truck, the freight on the truck, I mean, there's so many different dynamics.
Just
that-
little variables that can impact
Exactly.
things in a massive way.
And I mean, frankly put, no one wants to teach that, and no one knows how to look for it either.
right.
So it's a collection that kind of builds up over time of knowledge that no one knows how to get out of people. I mean, we see it here in Elite. I mean, it's kind of tough to, with our training sometimes to get some of the stuff that Justin, out of your head, or that Zach knows or Rachel
Right.
knows, because it's just stuff that is hard to pull out. I mean, you and I will talk about something that I might do over the weekend, and it's a certain route that I have set up, but then you might end up changing it because you know just a little bit more about how the weekend works than I do. Like different things like that you kind of can't plan for, but when it comes out, you're like, wow, let's write that down and let's get it logged really fast.
Well, it kind of goes to my point that we've been working on really hard is you have to be a lifelong learner. Like
Right.
you can't stop. You have to continue to educate yourself. So just because you get your degree after you finish this year doesn't mean you stop your education process of growing your life.
Right, that's why you'll have the book club here, so that way we're all constantly learning. And
Correct, and so the combination. Some people learn different by full throttle experience, and they're not really grounded into maybe a college format. Maybe they're
Right.
grounded to a hands-on training format, whatever it looks like. But the whole constant change you have to go through is you have to keep growing. You have
Right.
to keep educating. So it's a real huge part that we've noticed that has helped us grow and continue to hold our standards and everything is to bring that out, like bringing that training out as our concept of educate that we work off of. So
And it's gotten easier, I'd say, too, with the personality test that we did and seeing the compass of where we all.
yeah, what'd you think about that,
all
Jason?
line
the
up
compass.
at.
So let's set the stage real quick. So we have a.
Yeah, I was gonna say 'cause not a lot of people probably
Go
know
ahead.
about it.
You want to set it?
Yeah, so basically,
Give the credit to who got it done too,
so
Miss Ansley.
it was Ansley for sure, and it first started off as some communist kind of thing that we thought we were doing, but worked out really well. And basically, what it is it takes the direction of where everyone lies in a personality test, whether it be northeast, northwest, west, north, where their dominants are, and we gave it to everybody in the company, and then put us all on a compass on the wall to see where we all line up at. And it's kind of funny that no more than 2 people end up on one spot, and there's 14, 15 here?
Yeah, something of that nature.
And not no more than 2 people end up in the same spot, whether it be west north, west south, southwest.
Yeah, so you have a dominant trait and a subdominant. So depending on where your dominant is, you would go there first. So for example, my dominant is north, and then my subdominant is east. So I sit in the northeast category. And ironically enough, Cole, where's your dominant at?
Southwest.
And then southwest.
Yeah.
So he sits on the total opposite side of me from the compass, and the compass being the center point. So from that perspective, there's personality traits that tend to lean, like I'm fast-paced normally, and then Cole is a little bit more slow-paced in his approach, and I'm a little bit more too fast-paced in my approach.
Right.
So it just gave us a perspective of how we're seeing things, because most of the time, most people are on the same mission, same goal, lining up, but then they start drifting in like a fork,
Right.
going in 2 different ways, and they don't even realize they're saying the same thing, trying to get to the same place, but they're going opposite directions.
Yep. Exactly.
So that was the hope and goal. So hopefully you had a chance to kind of see that come.
For sure. I would definitely say I would like to retake it because I think it was like that first time around, it was more of just how I perceived myself. But like now, like I'm
You have
like
to be
seeing
authentic about yourself there, buddy.
I know, and then like actually like getting in the office and like work, and it's like, okay, I might actually have a bit more north tendencies than I initially thought.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
I'm not as true
it
self.
was a hard test in some aspect. It was just 2 words you had to choose from,
Mm-hmm.
and you might be most of the word on either side.
Right.
It's just which one do you tend to lean a little bit more dominant if you had to pick one over the other. Doesn't mean you don't have characteristics of the other.
Right.
So it's interesting, and you had to be honest with yourself to give you a good place.
Right.
But that was one of the things that hopefully you had a chance to see and help kind of see the inside of a third-party kind of logistics process as you're learning the book side, the process of it and how it actually applies. So you've been doing some updates, answering emails.
I've done a
What
couple of
else?
quotes here and there. I've had to wrap a couple pallets.
Done some physical labor too.
Yeah, physical labor. I've done a lot of that with you recently.
Yes.
And it's been physical, that's for sure. Very physical.
Oh,
Oh,
my
God.
goodness.
It's been
Y'all hurt my training days back 7-8 years ago.
Oh, back then, I mean.
Look,
oh,
you got
it's
it
pretty
weak. You
good
can ask
dude.
Steven, and it was much harder than what you guys got.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
sure
not
it
down.
was.
They had to drag the drag at the end of practice.
Well, look,
Physically,
I mean,
by
I started-
hand.
I started doing that in high school, though.
Yeah.
I did start doing that in high school. And
They were doing it
the,
at 10 years old.
yeah,
That's like child labor nowadays.
Yeah, that is bleak.